Judge Joe Brown was featured on a young lady named I believe her name was the real Dana, and salute. But they spoke on the topic about fathers. You know what I'm saying? How much fathers are needed. And Judge Joe Brown spoke on how America is now trying to turn Mother's Day and Father's Day into Parents' Day, due to the transgender community, and how the world is now, where they want everybody to be equal, equal rights, equal opportunity to be whatever you want to be in life. And which, what I'm saying, that's fine, but I don't necessarily agree with changing the titles of Mother's Day and Father's Day, because you do have a mother and you have a father. If the transgender community want to, and it's just in my opinion, if the transgender want to have their kids call them a mother instead of a father, or a father instead of a mother, then they have that right to do so. But I don't think you should change the whole title as a collective. But then again, that's just my opinion. Judge Joe Brown talked about how fathers are needed, in which I agree with him when he say, when you remove the father out the house, it increases the crime rate for the for the child, especially young black men. You see, it's so easy for us to get caught up, and not only the young black men, but any child. When you remove the father, and they coming up in poverty-stricken areas in which they have no real guidance, no real direction, you see that it's so easy for them to get caught up in all the other worldly things. You see what I'm saying? A lot of times, and mothers do the best they can, but a lot of times you hear the saying that it's hard for a mother to teach a man how to be a man. And though mothers do the best they can, I guess I was fortunate enough to have a mother that was kind of like a tomboy, so she was always able to instill the real men principles. But a lot of times mothers do the best they can, but when it's not a father around, you see the child goes out and he tried to seek a father figure out in the world, whether that be titled OG, or titled Big Bruh or Big Homie. You see what I'm saying? You got to watch for them titles, because when they start giving a man an OG title or a Big Homie title, that becomes them putting somebody over them. You see what I'm saying? One thing about it, when you out here in the world, young dude, and I ain't gonna dig too deep, but I just want to just piggyback off of this father topic, because Father's Day is this weekend. When you start giving a man the title, the Big Homie or OG or somebody, and so on and so forth, you giving him a one up on you. You know what I'm saying? Like he's somebody that you looking up to because he's the big dog, he's the OG, so on and so forth. A lot of times, you know what I mean? But one thing about it, you know what I'm saying, I believe that you young dogs, even if you don't have a father figure, finding you a mentor, find you somebody that in which you can tell them some things that you battling, and they can give you some great advice. A lot of times the OGs of your community, or the big homies in your community, at the end of the day, they play for self too now. You know what I'm saying? They send y'all on the goofy missions. They send y'all out here in the world to be crash dummies. You know what I'm saying? They send y'all to go do the stuff that they really don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? And you think because they have money, because they have popularity, because they have everybody looks up to them, you think that, you know what I'm saying, they have the best interest in your life, when really, they play for self too. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they all about staying free. And if they can send a little homie to go do it, i.e. you, and he can dodge doing time behind it and let you crash out, then he'll do that. You know what I'm saying? But to get back to the topic at hand, yeah, Judge Joe Brown talked about how the crime rate increases when there's no father in the household. It's so true, because look outside, look out every day, look on the news. A lot of these guys is doing a lot of time. A lot of these young men is doing a lot of time. It's all coming and stemming from them having no guidance. One thing about it, when you're starting to raise yourself as a man, and you going outside and you looking right outside, and you seeing everybody that, all the girls or whoever, whatever, the energy that he likes, whether it's the girls' attention or other homeboys' attention or whatever, or just the praise that a lot of the local drug dealers or a lot of the local whoever's get, if he don't have that, and he don't have a father to tell him that, man, if you get an education, or if if you get you a job, or if you just take your time with life, you know what I'm saying, all those things to come. You take your time, stack your money, stay out of these people's way. If you don't have anybody to give him real direction, or real guidance, he would adopt that method or whatever that man was doing, whatever that big homie, whatever that OG was doing, whether it was robbing, stealing, killing, selling dope, whatever the case may be, he would adopt that because he would believe that's the way to get there. I'm just saying, you see that a lot of times. Not everybody. Some people is able to manage by just, the great words of their mother when the father is absent, and they're able to manage and go on and have a great successful career. But we see more times, especially in poverty-stricken areas, fathers are very much needed. When you remove the father from the household, it don't matter if he's black, white, well, no matter what his race is. You see what I'm saying? When you remove the father out the house, daughters a lot of times lose that example of what a father should be. It's always a great thing to have that father in the household, that she see that father that wakes up to protect, to provide, and he wakes up every day on a mission to make sure that his family has and not goes without. So the daughter loses that structure of a man. They lose that example of what she should be looking for in a husband. A lot of times fathers, they take their time. Great fathers take their time with their daughters. Tell her how beautiful she is. Tell her the things that when another man tell her these things, she's not used to hearing it. You get what I'm saying? So she's not blown away by a man opening the door for her, a man telling her she's beautiful, or telling her she's something, that she could be anything, that she's a wife. She's not she's not a object to somebody, so to speak, right? So when a father is absent, not saying that the daughter don't receive that from the mother, but a lot of times, daughters out here need that reassurance of a father, of a male figure. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, and then with the little boys or the young men, they need that strongness, that foundation of a man to show them what it takes to be a man. How you protect and provide for your family, how you love your mother, how you love, the women in your community, and then at the same time, you pay the respect forward to the older men. You show them respect, and then when it comes to your peers, you demand respect, but you give respect. And just a lot of things that fathers being present, it really helps the growth of a young man. You know what I'm saying? And it's very much so needed. So as Father Day approaches, and you guys hit the like button if you haven't already, but as Father's Day approaches, a lot of people have lost their father. A lot of people had great fathers that's no longer here. And, I just want to take the moment to salute all the good fathers around the world, all the great mothers as well, but just take a moment to appreciate the fathers that took the time to say, you know what, there's nothing out here in the world that means more to my children. And speaking to myself as well, I want to be somebody that when my children look at me, they look at a person and say, you know what, my father was a best friend to me. So my father was a role model for me. My father was somebody that I was able to look up to and idolize. So I have a long road ahead, or a lot of, God willing, a lot of great days in front of me with my children, because I feel as though I really want to raise my children to say, you know what, my father was somebody that really, really took the time and tried to be the best version of a father that he can be. So any father that's a new father now, any father that haven't spent time with their children the way they should, hey man, look, understand that, don't worry about the past, worry about right now. It's a great opportunity to pick up the phone and call your children and tell them that you love them. It's a great opportunity. Even if you don't have no money, time is more important than money. And I have to speak to myself and understand that time is more important than money. A lot of time as men, we think that we can just, buy our children things, and, but you can't buy love. You know what I'm saying? You can't buy the time and the nourishment that the child really, really needs. You know what I'm saying? And it's very important that, we go take our kids to the park. It's very important that we, like now, I like to take my son to ride scooters together because he's really into that. You know what I'm saying? But I do understand that, those are the things that the kids look back on. Right now, I can only look back on so much stuff that my stepfather was able to buy me. You know what I'm saying? Like he would give me his last, but it was a time of us sitting around watching ESPN together. You know what I mean? Just laughing and joking. And those are the things that you really remember. Those are the things that the child truly remember. The thing we as fathers need to continue to do is spend time with the child more so than the money. Because one thing that money can't do, the money can't buy love. It's a lot of fathers out here right now that they send money, they pay their child support, but they don't spend no time with the child, and the child don't even appreciate them as a father because they don't care about the money. You see what I'm saying? So It was just a topic that Judge Joe Brown spoke on, man, and I just wanted to tip my hat to him. And being a Father Day is approaching, I couldn't kick off my morning without speaking to all the fathers out here, or the mothers that's playing the father role. Understand that, you know, it's always today a chance to make tomorrow better than the present. You get what I'm saying? We have to start with today is basically what I'm saying. If you're a father right now that's not in your child's life, you know, it's a good time to start trying to pick up the phone and try to, you know, bridge that gap. If you're a father that is in your child's life, salute to you. Happy Father's Day to you. I pray you get your flowers while you're here, because, you know, they try best to remove the fathers. Because, you know, without the father is the first step to brokenness in a child's life. That's all I want to say. Each one teach one. As long as we have each other, we'll continue to grow together. I have more content coming to you guys today. But yeah, love, peace, and I pray everybody continue to grow in their own outright. And fathers, let's continue to try to raise our children, but always remember, money means nothing when we don't spend time. That's all I want to say. It's 22 news reporter, Ivory Hecker, I believe her name is. She's out of Texas. I'm a Fox 22 news reporter. She said some things right before she talked about the weather in the state of Texas. In Montgomery County, it was a place in Texas. She talked about how Fox 22 has been trying to muzzle her and keep her quiet about certain things. She came out and talked about how, I mean, live on air too, y'all. She came out and talked about the news company is trying to put a muzzle on her, so to speak. She said they try to protect her from saying things to you, the viewer. Now, that right there resonates in so many different aspects of life. It goes my whole page over the last month. I've been talking about just different coverages of different guys, talking about like mostly how the higher ups try to do things, how they try to paint the narrative, how they try to destroy the image of people, and they understand he who control imagery control minds, right? The people that can control the things that you see is the people that can control the things you leave. As long as it's on TV, you'll believe it. They say television program. Eddie Griffin said tell-a-vision programming, right? Which means as long as you can see it on TV, a lot of people will believe it. Now, the Fox News, Ivory Hecker, I want to salute to her, because one thing about the news, sometimes they go live on air. Most times they go live at 5, things like that. Well, when they went live on air, there's no script for when you live. You can say anything and they can't go in and chop it and edit. So she understood that when they came to her 5 to talk about AC units behind her, she took that moment to say that Fox 22 News was trying to muzzle her and keep things from you, the viewers, keep her from saying certain things. And she plans to come out and talk about behind the scenes of basically being a news reporter and how things are really, really put together. How they put things together to make you believe it and then muzzle the other things to what you can't hear. You know what I'm saying? That goes to show you that even when we talk about Hollywood, when we talk about the entertainment world, we talk about the rap world, when we talk about anything that's out, that's on TV, perception is everything. As long as they can make you perceive that this is a certain way, you can believe that it was a certain way. It don't necessarily mean that it was truth. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's no truth in television. They don't care who they hurt in the process. They can destroy your family name if it means it'll get their viewership up. Even on YouTube, guys have the mic, guys that have the camera in front of them. The things that they spew out their mouth, they don't care who they destroy in the process. I'm yet to try to get on YouTube and just destroy another brother or another person. Why? Because I know that it might give me a few more views. It may give me a few more subscribers, but at the end of the day, what good did it do for me and that man for me to destroy? I try to just speak truth, or at least from what I perceive to be truth, say my opinion, and move on. I believe a lot of times, us as minorities, us as people at the bottom, us as however you want to format it, I think that we need to state our opinion on things if we feel like you know, it's something that we want to speak on, but you don't have to disrespect people in the process. You see Ivory Hecker comes out and said that they try to muzzle her or basically keep her quiet, and I'm interested to see what all is these people trying to keep her quiet about. You guys, like what we've been seeing with speaking against Stephen A. Smith and guys in the basketball NBA world. You've seen what you've seen for guys that was kneeling and different things like that in the football world. You see what I'm saying? You see different things in the music industry. You know, and now you see it on the Fox channel, Fox 26, you see it on the news channel. I don't care what it is or where it's at. If it involves you seeing it, they believe that they had to put a cap on what you see. Then what you see is what you believe. So if it's truth, they know you definitely gonna believe truth. So their job is to make sure that they silence the people that speak in truth. That's what we talk about YouTube. If you say too much of the truth, if you speak out and speak boldly and you kind of against the grain, you see how YouTube can dictate who's able to see these things. You know what I'm saying? They can start silencing your name. They can take your account, so on and so forth. But as long as you're pushing out negativity, as long as you're pushing out destruction, as long as you're pushing out dope and just, you know, treason, if you're preaching that and you're getting viewers or you're feuding back and forth, if you're doing that type of stuff, then yeah, your page can be as big as you want it to be, because it helps. You know, one thing we know, dysfunction sells, disrespect sells, sex sells. That's why you see a lot of women right now, a lot of people, they over-sexualize themselves because they understand that dollar signs comes behind the notion of sex. Sex sells. Disruption sells. Distraction sells. That's why they like to distract you a lot of times, because they know as long as you distracted, they can do something over here that determines how you live in tomorrow. You know, what money you'll be making, so on and so forth. The disruption is something that captures the eye. That's why you see a lot on the Bad Girls Club. You see a lot on Basketball Wives, Housewives of Atlanta, Love and Hip Hop. Everything is about disrespect and disruption, destroying one another, because they know as long as they can preach violence and you guys are tuning in. Not you watching this, not you necessarily, but I'm saying the masses of people, you'll tune in. So when Ivy Hecker say they've been trying to keep a muzzle on her, she know that they want you guys to perceive a certain thing way, and a certain things they never want you guys to know about. So like I say, I'm interested. I'm deeply interested into what the behind the scenes is of Fox 26, and not only Fox 26, but your news channel in your city. Can you imagine all the things they don't tell you? One thing, I normally don't watch the news, because I call the news bad news. When you normally cut on the news channel, all thing I see is another brother has passed, another person has passed in this neighborhood, somebody got killed over here, somebody got killed over there. It's rare that you see a wedding on news. It's very rare that you see, I don't know, people going on vacation on the news, like, and I mean actually out there happy playing it. Like, it's very rare. The only thing you see is the destruction or the badness that's going on in the projects in your city. All the people that died from car wrecks and so on and so forth. Like, it's, you know, I call it bad news. But one of my good friends used to say, you know, when you're dealing with people that can control the things that you or the things that you hear, they will preach destruction. That's why you see when you cut on the radio, all these guys is talking about dope and so on and so forth. But one of my good friends used to say, we don't need to be a dope dealer, we need to be a hope dealer. And that's something that I always thought resonated, because these kids today need hope. We don't need no more dope dealers. We need some hope dealers. We need some ones that's preaching hope, like, you know, it's going to be a better tomorrow. You know, Tupac once said, you know, it's funny, when it rains, it pours. They got more war, but can't feed the poor. Like, listen to it. The message that the man used to put out in his music was so powerful. And I think that's the things that Ivory Hecker is kind of speaking on, in the sense that when she's saying that, you know, they're trying to keep a muzzle on her. When you have the news station, when you have the ability to speak about real things that's going on, you shouldn't always just take it to talk about death. Let's talk about some things until where we can build something and go somewhere while we're still living. You know what's funny? When it rains, it pours. They got money for war but can't feed the poor. That means that's people that's still living and need it right now. They said it ain't no hope for the youth, and the truth is it ain't no hope for the future. Come on, man. You know, man, I ain't gonna say no more. Y'all get what I'm saying. Tupac was really, really preaching about things that if you have a news station, you know, that's the things that we should be talking about for the living. We shouldn't use it to always talk about what happened, who got shot, who did. That's no different than Facebook. And just the people in your neighborhood that sit around and just gossiping about no. Yeah, we want to bring awareness to these type of things, but at the same time, you know, let's touch that base and let's touch on something that for the people that still living, or the people that still trying to go on, or the people that struggle, there's people that in poverty-stricken areas into which they can flourish. You know, that's the type of things that I believe the news should be for. Not always bad news, but news into which, hey y'all, let's unite with each other. Let's build. Let's go somewhere. Whether you black, white, Asian, China, it don't matter what you are. At the end of the day, we own this. Like this, we living amongst each other. You know, you're my neighbor, I'm your neighbor. Let's together, right? Right? They said it ain't no hope for the youth, and the truth is it ain't no hope for the future. That's what the Tupac said, man. I just want to say to him, you guys hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please turn me up. Always remember, each one teach one. As long as we have each other, we continue to grow together. But I just want to say, Ivory Hecker of Fox 22 News out in Texas. She came out live on air, and before they can silence her or before they can hush her, so to speak, right? Before she even got into what they wanted her to report on, she talked about how they've been trying to keep a muzzle on her from not telling you guys a lot of stuff. And I'm curious to know, what all do they want to keep her silence for? Right? And not only that, I'm willing to bet whatever for her even saying that live on air. Some days ahead for her is going to be a little bit rocky, because one thing we know, they would throw everything they can at you. Seen what happened with Cat Williams when he came out and spoke live. You know, when he spoke boldly. The man ended up in jail. Every time you turn around and not convicted of nothing, that's just them bothering. I'm willing to bet they try to fire this lady from her job or let her go. Right? And then when they let her go, all of a sudden she's going to be getting random pullovers, random DUI charges, random whatever. They just going to act like she was always destruction, because she was speaking out, trying to say truth and trying to let us know that, you know, they want to control the narrative. There's certain things they don't want y'all to know, and it ain't always got to do with your local car crash. There's some things that's really out here that we can say and we can tell you guys, and you know, it'll be something you can take with you. But of course, they never allow that. They just want to keep you so in a box of what's going on at your local red light. You know, you know, who got killed in your projects. Who, like you said, who car crashed over there on whatever highway, which is good. The information is good to process, but there's other things we can speak about as well. It shouldn't always be death, because there's some things right now that's going on with the people that's living. You know what I'm saying? There's laws getting passed right now that the people that's living should know about. That's all I want to say. Each one teach one. Each one teach one. As long as we have each other, we continue to grow together. Like, if you haven't already, please subscribe right now and turn on the post notification.
We gotta tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. And we gotta do it fast.
Woo! New personal record, Limu!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, liberty, liberty.
A strategic operation to get as many shots in arms by opening clinics and keeping and being able to get so many people vaccinated. What I'm doing now is not just getting significant amounts of vaccines to the rest of the world, but they now need the mechanical way is how they get shots in arms. So we're providing them to know how to do that. Now, should everybody in America know that? No, I don't necessarily know that. They're just trying to figure out how to put 3 square table and stay safe. But so I do think the place where I was a little disappointed, I wish we could have written it differently, is when we did the legislation to provide the funding for COVID and the money we provided for the states to be able to deal with keeping schools open. Some of them didn't do a very good job. Some are still holding the money. I don't have the authority to do anything about that. I think that's not particularly competent. There's things that could and should have been done. They could have moved faster. So I understand the frustration. You know, I remember, I think it was, I forget which cabinet member saying to Barack Obama, where something was going on, and he said, well, you're going to be sure, Mr. President, of the millions of employees you have out there, somebody's screwing up right now. Somebody's screwing up. So, you know, it's just but I think you have to look at things that we used to look at it on balance. What is the trajectory of the country? Is it moving in the right direction now? I don't know how we can say it's not. I understand the overwhelming frustration, fear, and concern with regard to inflation and COVID. I get it. But the idea, if I told you when we started, I tell you what I'm going to do, the first year I'm going to create over 6 million jobs. I'm going to get unemployment down to 3.9%. I'm going to generate, and I named it all. You'd look at me like you're nuts. Maybe I'm wrong.
President, at least in our recent memory, with as much Washington experience as you entered this office with, but yet after we sit here for more than an hour, I'm not sure I've heard you say if you would do anything differently in the second year of your term. Do you plan to do anything differently?
Yeah, look, the thing I have to do...
Are you satisfied with your team here at the White House, sir?
I'm satisfied with the team. There's 3 things I'm doing differently now that I've gotten the critical crises out of the way in the sense of that movement, knowing exactly where we're going. Number 1, I'm going to get out of this place more often. I'm going to go out and talk to the public. I'm going to do public fora. I'm going to interface with them. I'm going to make the cases what we've already done, why it's important, and what we'll do what will happen if they support what else I want to do. Number 2, I'm bringing in more and more now that I have time. I mean, literally, like you, I'm not complaining. It's, 12, 14 hours a day, no complaints. I really mean it sincerely. But now that certain of the big chunks have been put in place and we know the direction, I'm also going to be out there seeking the more advice of experts outside, from academia to editorial writers to think tanks, and I'm bringing them in, just like I did early on, bringing in presidential historians to get their perspective on what we should be doing, seeking more input, more information, more constructive criticism about what I should and shouldn't be doing. And the third thing that I'm going to be doing a lot more of is being in a situation where I'm able to I'm going to be deeply involved in these off-year elections. We're going to be raising a lot of money. We're going to be out there making sure that we're helping all of those candidates, and scores of them have already asked me to come in and campaign with them, to go out and make the case in plain, simple language as to what it is we've done, what we want to do, and why we think it's important. How many more hours am I doing this? I'm happy to stick around. You always ask me the nicest questions. I know you do.
All right.
None of them make a lot of sense to me, but
Well, let's try.
Fire away. Come on.
A new year. Why are you trying so hard in your first year to pull the country so far to the left?
Well, I'm not. I don't know what you consider to be too far to the left. If in fact we're talking about making sure that we had the money for COVID, making sure we had the money to put together the bipartisan infrastructure, making sure we were able to provide for those things that in fact would significantly reduce the burden on working class people, but they have to continue to work hard. I don't know how that is pointed to the left. If you may recall, you guys have been trying to convince me that I am Bernie Sanders. I'm not. I like him, but I'm not Bernie Sanders. I'm not a socialist. I'm a mainstream Democrat, and I have been. And mainstream Democrats have overwhelmed me. If you notice, the 48 of the 50 Democrats supported me in the Senate on virtually everything I've asked. Yes, sir.
I wanted to clarify, you were asked whether or not you believed that we would have free and fair elections in 2022 if some of these state legislatures reformed their voting protocols. You said that it depends. Do you think that they would in any way be illegitimate?
Oh, yeah, I think it easily can be illegitimate. Imagine if, in fact, Trump has succeeded in convincing Pence to not count the votes. Imagine if...
In regard to 2022, sir, the midterm election.
2022. I mean, imagine if those attempts to say that the count was not legit. You have to recount it, and we're not going to count. We're going to discard the following votes. I mean, sure. I'm not saying it's going to be legit. It's the increase in the prospect of being illegitimate is in direct proportion to us not being able to get these reforms passed. But I don't think you're not going to see me, and I don't think you're going to see the Democratic Party give up on coming back at assuming that the attempt fails today.
And then one more, sir. You campaigned and you ran on a return to civility, and I know that you dispute the characterization that you called folks who would oppose those voting bills as being Bull Connor or George Wallace, but you said that they would be sort of in the same camp.
No, I didn't say that. Look what I said. Go back and read what I said and tell me if you think I called anyone who voted on the side of the position taken by Bull Connor that they were Bull Connor.
And
that is an interesting reading of English. I assume you got into journalism because you like to write.
So did you expect that would work with Senators Mann or Sinema?
No, here's the thing. There's certain things that are so consequential. You have to speak from your heart as well as your head. I was speaking out forcefully on what I think to be at stake. That's what it is. And by the way, no one forgets who was on the side of King or Bull Connor. No one done that. The history books will note it. And when I was making the case, don't think this is a freebie. You don't get to vote this way and then somehow it goes away. This will stick with you the rest of your career and long after you're gone.
And Mr. President,
folks,
one more on Ukraine, please, sir.
Okay, whoa, hang on, guys. We've only gone an hour and 20 minutes. I'll keep going, but I'm going to go. Let me get something straight here. How long are you guys ready to go? You want to go for another hour or two? Okay, I'm going to go. I tell you what, folks, I'm going to go another 20 minutes till 1:15. Okay. Yes, sir.
President Biden, thank you. I'll wait for the microphone. President Biden, on the...
I want to thank my communications staff for the great help here.
Well, President Biden, on the coronavirus, we're tragically approaching nearly 1 million Americans who died. And I'd like to ask you why it is during your 3.5-hour virtual summit in November with the Chinese president, you didn't press for transparency, and also whether that has anything to do with your son's involvement in an investment firm controlled by Chinese state-owned entities.
The answer is that I did raise the question of transparency. I spent a lot of time with him. And the fact is that they're just not being transparent.
Transparency on the coronavirus origins.
Yes.
And you did during the virtual summit. Is there a reason your press staff was unaware of that? And what did you say to the Chinese president?
And they weren't with me the entire time. Look, I made it clear that I thought that China had an obligation to be more forthcoming on exactly what the source of the virus was.